Hi, thank you for joining me today. It's Sunday, May 26th, and I know a lot of you are wondering where are we in the process with SB179. So I wanted to do a quick update, let everybody know where we are and what's going on. So first I'd like to start with what exactly is SB179. In Nevada, we have what's called SB179, Trust Nevada Women. It's an abortion deregulation bill, pure and simple. Under the guise of trying to update antiquated law, the sponsor has developed a bill that deregulates and decriminalizes a lot of things that are currently in law. And it's not going to help women. It's actually going to make Nevada almost like the Wild West when it comes to abortion law. It's almost like our legislators here in Nevada took a look at the craziness that was going on in New York and in Virginia earlier this year and said, hey, hold my beer. I can beat that. And that's what they've done. They have SB 179 eliminates the age requirement. And what do I mean by that? Because this is a confusing fact, and I want to make it really clear. In Nevada, currently, an underage girl who is seeking an abortion is not required to get the consent of a parent. In fact, her parents do not even have the right to know that she's getting an abortion. Now, let that sink in for a minute, because we're talking 8, 9, 10, 11, even when they're 16, 17, it's an issue, but especially at the early ages. So currently in law, there is a requirement. Okay, so let me rewind a little bit. So currently there is no protection by involving parents, and especially, even with a judicial bypass, there's nothing. But what there is one little point in law that requires the abortionist. And thing to remember here is that a doctor who's performing an abortion, you've got two types of people when it comes to that. You have a doctor who is just your regular OBGYN, and maybe there's, they're above board and they're about helping women, right? Maybe they do a couple of abortions here and there. Now that's the doctor that the pro-abortion people would like us all to focus on. But that's not the doctor that we're talking about. Just like we have regulation for every industry. It's not for the people who follow the rules. It's not for the people who are good actors. It's for the people who are going to dump chemicals into a river. And the same with abortionists. We have abortion law because there's a group of people out there who seek to profit off of women in one of the hardest situations women can face. And they're a for-profit industry. These people are not going to tell anybody anything about what the downside to abortion is. In fact, they're the ones that are going to say it's a clump of cells. It's not a life. It's you're not going to have any problem whatsoever. You might be a little discomfort, maybe have a little bit of discomfort, but other than that, no big deal. Well, anybody who A, has had an abortion, or B, knows someone, is close to somebody who's had an abortion, knows that that is not always the case. In fact, quite often women feel regret and have emotional issues attached to that abortion later. Maybe she didn't realize, she believed it was a clump of cells, and then when she later finds out that no, it was a life, her baby, she has deep pain. And that deep pain can manifest in so many ways. So, like I always do when I talk about abortion, I want to reach out to everybody in the audience who's ever had an abortion and know that there is help and there is healing for you. So back to what we were talking about. So currently in law, there is one place that we protect young girls, and that is a requirement that the abortion doctor must verify in writing her age. Now, why is that important? That is important because once he verifies her age, that triggers mandatory reporting. And if there's a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old or even a 13-year-old in an abortion doctor's office getting an abortion, let's stop and think. There's got to be something wrong. There's abuse, because there is no good reason, none, for a child that age to be pregnant and to be needing an abortion. So now your average, that first class of people, class of doctors we were talking about earlier, of course they're not gonna, they're of course going to record that, and they're gonna do their mandatory reporting thing. But that abortion doctor who makes his living $500 to $2,500 a pop for every abortion, that may not be something he's entirely interested in doing. And by not requiring it to be in the record, and that's another thing that he's violated once he has violated that girl. So that's a protection that we need to keep in law. Now, unfortunately, the Democrats, with some exceptions like Senator Washington, Senator Dennis, an Assemblywoman, I can't believe it. Let me think. Completely lost my train of thought. And a Democratic Assemblywoman, which I will put underneath here in a minute. They all voted against this bill, but for the rest of the Democrats, they were unwilling to listen. Even though we went in, we called, we emailed, I met with a bunch of them, I provided information. They refused to listen, which kind of makes me wonder. I mean, who's more important at this point? Is it our children, our greatest resource, our young girls? Or is it a predator or a sex trafficker or an abuser? Because that's who's benefiting from deregulating in this particular spot. So they did nothing to fix this. They did nothing they did not want, there's also a screening for coercion. So basically, a lot of women who get an abortion, and you can talk to the abortion industry about this, their research people will tell you that a large percentage of women who get abortions feel coerced by somebody, maybe it's an employer, a boyfriend, a husband, a family member, a teacher, a predator. They feel coerced. And when you introduce coercion into a situation like this, it seems to me like we're not talking choice anymore. But they took that out of our law. It was a minimum protection. Like I mentioned, emotional issues. They have taken that entirely out of law. So anyway, I've gotten off topic. I've told you what the basic problems with this bill. There are many. But where we are in the process is both houses have passed it out of their houses. So now it is on its way to the governor's desk. It is in enrollment. And so once it lands on the governor's desk, he has a certain number of days to sign or veto the measure. We're very much hoping that he will see that this is not a bill that helps women in any way. All it does is help the abortion industry and predators and pimps and sex traffickers and abusers and abusive husbands and boyfriends and people who want to profit off the misery of women. So what I need you to do is call 775-684-5670 and ask Governor Sisolak, kindly ask him, please protect women. Veto SB179. Last week, I personally dropped off thousands and thousands and thousands of postcards from the Reno, Sparks, Carson City area. I know several other people did as well. And I know a lot of people statewide put them in the mail. And those postcards are going in. I was a little disturbed when I dropped off the last ones on Friday. And I asked the person at the desk who receives them how many had come in. And she said, oh, maybe 1,000. Well, I laughed at her and I said, I've brought you close to, I don't know, 7,000 or 8,000, if not more. So she was pretty cagey about how many. So that's a concern. But keep sending those postcards. Keep calling. And with that, I'm going to let you go. I'm sorry it was really long. I obviously had a lot of words today. You know, we have done well so far. We've just got a little bit of a push for going further. And now, all right, Mary Mac, Irby, great. Keep it up in Las Vegas. We will win this fight eventually. And thank you, everyone, for what you have done so far. Have a good day.